Hello, everybody. Welcome to week number 2. I am looking forward to diving into some of the material for our course. I'm happy that you have already made it through week 1, which was last week, understanding our syllabus, learning about some of the topics that we will cover, and then, of course, recording your introduction videos. A quick housekeeping note, we are here online this week for our class session, but our first in-person class session will be next Monday, September 13th. We'll meet in Alex Manoogian Hall in room 0128, which is down in the basement, from 4 to 5:15. So I look forward to seeing all of your friendly faces next Monday. Just remember that before coming to campus, you will have to fill out that daily screener. You'll receive an email that says that you passed the screener. According to what I have been communicated, there may or may not be somebody at the entrance of Manoogian that is verifying that screener. They might not be. I'm not quite sure how everything is working its way out for every specific building. So I just don't want you to be caught off guard when you arrive for campus. And of course, there is our campus-wide mask mandate that you will also need to adhere to. But other than that, I'm looking forward to seeing you in person next Monday. Until then, we're going to operate right here, and we have 2 things that we're going to talk about for this week's class session. The first is the growth and magnitude of the sport industry, and the second is we're going to take a quick review of television contracts and the growth of sport franchise values. So we will be looking at those 2 things as a benchmark to acknowledge the scale of the industry. I'm sure you already know how large the sport industry is at this point because you are taking a course that is a subset of a larger degree that you can earn. And if you couldn't earn a degree in it, it probably isn't large and significant. So I figured you have already established how large the industry is, but we're going to review it nonetheless. And we're going to take a look at it from the lens of communication. You can assess the vastness of our industry, all the intricacies of our industry, a lot of different ways. But we're specifically going to look at it through the lens of communication. So the first thing we'll do is discuss the growth and magnitude of the industry. And there's several different assessments on the dollar value of the sport industry as a whole. Don't let the numbers overwhelm you. They are a progression of the growth of the industry. As you'll see and as you'll read, the dollar amounts have grown over the years. So work with me on the numbers. I want you to get a general idea of how they've developed over the last couple of years. Also know that some of the data points that I've shared are from within the last couple of years, the most recent data points I've shared. That's because I don't like to use statistics that are just grabbed from anywhere on the internet. I want to grab them from anywhere. I want to use them from places, or I want to use material and evidence that is from places that have conducted research and it has taken the time to publish that research. So I'm not just using random things. So if you're wondering why we're looking at something from 2018 or 2019, and that's the most recent material I'm sharing with you, of course we can go to the internet and find more quick data points, but I want to make sure that we're using credible sources here within this course. So majority of the material on the page will be credible research that I've shared with you. And then there are some links down at the bottom for some more quick offsetting pieces of information that might be a little bit more up to date. So just a quick assessment of how I've put all that together. So the examples that I've included are from a variety of different industries, but it's important to note that the exact dollar amount is changing and also that it can be challenging to pinpoint, hence the reason for the research-based statistics that I've shared with you. And why is it difficult to pinpoint? Well, it's kind of hard to gather all the different data points for every element of our industry. For example, how much do people spend on personal sport activities, on things like golf memberships, on fishing, on skiing, on swimming, on running? All of that, all of those segments have pieces of data points, have pieces of material that you could collect, and you could dive into it and dive into it and dive into it. So it is changing, it is growing, and there is a lot to consume here. So I don't want to overwhelm you. I just want to acknowledge that there could be variances in some of the pieces of information that you read and what source you get it from. So I just want to give you that bit of background. At the end of this section, we'll also mention that the industry is only expected to grow. Of course, it is probably from a combination of social media, from esports, from the legalizing of sports betting, and then, of course, the growth of the television contracts and sport franchise values. So that is what we'll spend the second portion of this week's virtual class taking a look at. And we could spend a long time assessing television contracts, a wide assortment of contracts. Contracts change regularly, it feels like, with the development of new networks and who has the rights to publish which sporting events. It's a little crazy. If you look at just ESPN specifically, they have so many different platforms that you can consume sport products, that you can consume games, that you can watch shows and material from them, and that's just ESPN. You can watch sporting events on Twitter now. You can stream them through Hulu. I mean, there's so many different ways. So it's a constant evolution. Again, we're using this as a benchmark to help you recognize how vast the sport communication industry is, which is, of course, a subset of the larger sport industry. So there is some information that I will share there for you to just, again, get a better idea. And also to understand that the demand is growing. There is an increased demand for coverage, and as access becomes more readily available, more communication jobs become available, which is great if you are interested in pursuing a career in sport communication. Everything from reporters to writers, production crews, network employees, executives. There are so many different career opportunities within sport communication or within sport in general. So in short, we took a small dive into some of those career opportunities within the industries. And that is an introduction to this week's discussion. One of the questions that you will talk about in the discussion is a potential career field that you might be interested in. So we will use the discussion as an extension of the first two things that we just talked about. And you should be able to read through both pages that I've put together and the articles that I've shared, which are part of this course. So make sure you read them, and then participate in the discussion in a relatively short amount of time. I'm not here to overwhelm you. I want to make sure that you are getting a great foundation and a great starting point for where we're going to spend the next couple of weeks. So consider the discussion that is due on Friday an extension of what we would have discussed if we were in the classroom. So it's nothing to tease your brain or get you confused. It is just to continue our conversation in a space that we can communicate back and forth. So you will be asked to comment on some of your classmates' posts. So until then, until I get the chance to read those discussions, I'm looking forward to letting you dive into this material, and of course, looking forward to seeing you next Monday, September 13th in class in Alex Manoogian Hall. Until then, let me know if you have any questions. Other than that, good luck.